Okay, so that is Ireland. That was recently in Dublin where they were holding anti-immigrant protests. Now, the Ireland is experiencing terrible housing crisis that is causing this rise, this build-up, this tension against immigration to Ireland. Now, before we continue, please consider liking, subscribing so we can grow this channel. And let's explore this Irish housing crisis.
2/3 of Irish people view housing as the biggest social issue. That's compared to just 1/10 of people in the rest of the EU. In Dublin, mortgages are 10 times the average annual wage, and the average monthly rent in Dublin is more than $2,300. Analysts say the housing crisis was the underlying cause of a riot in Dublin that shocked Ireland, and they blame a small number of far-right groups for whipping up anti-migrant sentiment.
They are really manipulating and fooling people into that they're actually concerned for their conditions. They're not. And it reaches this illogical point where they're now like burning out accommodation that is potentially for asylum seekers. And recently in Dublin, they burnt out accommodation that's actually due to be for homeless families. It is Irish landlords who are evicting Irish people onto the streets and making them homeless. What we do have here is what our president has called is a social catastrophe.
So what's really happening in Ireland is Ireland, specifically Dublin, there are a lot of international companies. Ireland economy has been growing at a very rapid rate that it's one of the, I think, highest, GDP countries right now in the world. This is all due to all these tech companies that moved to Ireland because they were being given tax incentives to move there. Now, with this came basically what happened in Silicon Valley, California, is what happened in Dublin. Now, because these companies come and they have these very high-paying jobs, people who work for them, it raises the cost of housing. This was made worse when lots of asylum seekers were also brought into Ireland. And normally, when that happens is many locals who are struggling are going to start blaming the new asylum seekers, like the immigrants. Now, I was in Ireland recently, just a few months ago, before this protest that happened, the one that they were burning up stuff in Dublin. And I went to see some of my friends. And two of my friends, one lives in Dublin, another lives in Cork. They were telling me it took them months to find a house, like to find a rental in Dublin. One totally gave up that they had to move to Cork, which is like 4 hours away. So they work in Dublin, but they live in Cork, which is like 4 hours away. Like they take the bus, I think it's called like air coach. It takes them 4 hours, and then they come and stay in Dublin for a few days working, and then they go back to where they actually live in Cork. It's incredible what's happening. But let's look at this other clip, because Ireland, they need like, I think, thousands of homes, like 15,000 houses or more to be built to accommodate the shortage that they're experiencing right now. And it's just at a breaking point. Let's watch this clip real quick.
Ireland's housing costs are among some of the highest in the EU, but it's in the capital of Dublin that the crisis is felt most acutely.
House prices are up 10% in the year to September. Rental prices have softened a little bit, but they're still rising 4 or 5%, and that comes really on the back of many years of outsized increases in spite of rent controls. So the property market is really hot and horrible for those trying to find a home to live in or one to rent.
Here, 2/3 of young people still live with their parents. More than 1/3 of others are considering leaving, and homelessness has reached record levels.
We're gonna look at a young lady who still live with their parents, but let's continue.
And you get people may move out and then they have to move back, and I mean, that's difficult if you're living in your childhood bedroom and you're in your 30s, it's a bit soul destroying. Absolutely, yeah, you can't get your life going,
Landlord came in and he just gave us like 7 days notice, saying that we just need to get out in 7 days. How am I supposed to find a room or like somewhere to stay in 1 week in Dublin?
Somebody else will say, I'll pay 50k more for that house, and then you should say, if you really want the house, you should say, I'll pay 60k more. So the price keeps climbing, so you might end up paying 100k more.
Part of the problem is its growing population. Experts say Ireland needs to build more than 50,000 homes every year if supply is to keep up with demand.
Actually, it was 50,000. I said 15,000 before, but it's 50,000 houses needed. Can you believe that? 50,000 to keep up with the supply. It's terrible housing crisis. It's like, I think Australia is experiencing the same. I made a video for Australia. I think I might link it at the end of this video. Please go watch that video. Also, I covered Australia immigration and the crisis and everything. But let's continue with Ireland.
No wonder then that it's the main battleground for politicians in Friday's general election.
People in Dublin tell me they are being priced out. Many of them can't even dream of ever owning their own home, born in a place they can't afford to live in. The result is an increase in hostility, especially towards things like immigration.
Left unsolved, I'm told it's a problem which will only get worse.
I suppose prolonged pressure whereby families are remaining, multiple generations of people are living under one roof for much longer than they should. And all of those things are far from satisfactory.
Okay, so what's gonna happen if you cannot afford to buy a house? That's out of the question in Dublin. Nobody really can afford it. Like, it's 10 times the average income. So most people, they're just gonna move back home. That's the only option they're gonna do. Either move back home or become homeless. We're gonna look at one young lady here. She moved back home. And then we're gonna look at another group that is homeless. Let's continue.
Hi there, so welcome, come on in, welcome to my house or my parents' house.
28-year-old Niamh works in education. She can't afford to rent or buy even a small place.
I would like to maybe move in my partner or like do something like that, and that's just not an option really. There's different decisions of life being put off or kind of taken into consideration about how that would work, because your house is your base, and if you don't have a base, then it doesn't make sense to make decisions.
Hello. Her brother will soon finish university and wonders about the future.
Living at home.
Oh, very good. I'd like to live in Ireland if I can. If I can't, then time to try somewhere else.
In Ireland, 2/3 of under 30-year-olds still live with their parents. It's one of the highest rates in Europe. Niamh lived abroad before the COVID pandemic. She's considering moving overseas again like some of her friends.
Yeah, that's really what's happening. It's strange because people in Ireland, they are considering moving abroad. But at the same time, people abroad, like in America and other places, are considering moving to Ireland. So it's like reverse. The Irish are moving out, but other people are moving in. So what remains constant is the housing issue, because whoever leaves is replaced maybe 2 or 3 times. So it's not gonna be better anytime soon. But let's continue.
I'm staying here and I want something to change. Whereas it's easy to say like, I'm going to move and get something better somewhere else. Staying is harder.
The home is in Enfield, a small town 40 kilometres outside of Dublin. The fields where Niamh used to play growing up have been replaced by houses. The area is attracting more and more commuters, with property prices soaring in recent years. The housing crisis hits both rural and urban areas. In a Dublin suburb opposite a petrol station, this flat has a new tenant.
We put it on the market there a couple of days ago and we have over 800 inquiries for the property.
800 inquiries, like they just put it on the market, 800 inquiries. So that explains why the landlords keep rising the price, because if you say I am gonna pay 2,000 euros, someone else is gonna say I'm gonna pay, I don't know, 2,500 euros. So the prices keep going up and up, and the landlord, if you have a tenant paying, I don't know, 1,500 euros from 10 years ago, you get the incentive to kick them out, so you can also get these new people paying up to 3,000 euros. It's insane.
We can't advertise a property over the weekend because we would have thousands of email inquiries.
In 10 years, the rent for this one-bedroom flat has gone from 900 to 1,600 euros a month.
Where it used to be single occupants, now it is mostly couples. And sometimes we do get applications in from small families. It's heartbreaking, and that's being honest with you, to see the desperation in the people that are looking for accommodation. We need about 45,000 units on an annual basis. That's for young couples that want to move together, people that are separating, that are trading apart, want other properties, and also people that are moving over to Ireland because it's very desirable to live and work here. So they're all coming over, but we have not met the demand in the last number of years.
Ireland has been attracting a number of companies and high-tech giants. Housing for employees is critical. Estate agent Ronan Crin.
Okay, let me stop this video there, but let's look at this other person who's homeless in Ireland. You know what? I don't know what's going to happen, because the government in Ireland is not doing really much. The asylum seekers are coming in, but the locals feel like the asylum seekers are being given priority, that they're being, they get to get like housing, but for them, the locals, they're struggling. So it is like the government is pitting the locals against people who sometimes have actual genuine asylum issues. So it is like pitting one poor person against another poor person. And it is very wrong. This is all a government failure issue, because they are the ones who brought in all these big companies, and at the same time they didn't regulate immigration. But now these people at the bottom, who are the locals and the asylum seekers, are now fighting each other when it's the government who's not providing housing. Plus the landlords are going crazy with the rates and everything. So it is just something, it's a ticking time bomb. Let's just finish with this last clip of somebody who's homeless. Just gonna watch like 1 minute of it.
Justin is looking for an apartment, but the housing market is more than just expensive. Some of the prices are downright frightening.
Here's a different one, 800 euros a month. 800 euros a month. It looks like a long closet. That's the whole thing, That's the only picture they give. So twin bedroom for 1,400 a month. 900 euros a month. Look, it's a big room.
To maximize profits, landlords often rent out individual rooms or even individual beds. People who urgently need a place to live, like Justin, have little choice. The reasonable...
Yeah, let's just stop it there. Like I think we've already covered everything. Either you have to option of, you have to live with your parents, or be homeless, or live outside of Dublin. The problem is, I don't know if other places like Killarney or Cork have good jobs like Dublin. So you might have to do the long commute like the one my friend does. They do 1-2 long commutes per week. They go work in Dublin, but they live in Cork, because in Cork they were paying what was it, 1,000 euros or for a 3-bedroom. So it is a way, I guess, to do this, because The government is not going to be building 50,000 houses anytime soon. If you like this video, please consider liking, subscribing, and of course share this on all the networks. I'll see you.
Oh my goodness, all the networks! Wow! All the networks!